All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Run Home Podcast. I did it. I got him. I just had to talk enough trash in every single podcast that we've had so far. He is the only person that has been mentioned every single time. Some think he is pound for pound the greatest CSFBLer of all time. We're going to find out if he feels that way right now. Pimp, welcome to the Run Home Podcast.
Hey, I'm glad to be here. I don't know about the pound for pound stuff. I've said to everybody who's ever asked me to name my top five, I said I've only got a top one, and that's Clone. But I'll stack my merits up against anybody else in the game.
You know, Clone is the best I've seen too. He did everything right, but he's kind of like, you know, it's funny when you think about like the best in everything, music, movies, whatever. Mm-hmm. They are the brightest flame, but then they disappear. Thankfully, he didn't die like Elvis or something, but you know, they burn hot. And when he was in the 2 times he was in TCL, I just couldn't believe it. I was actually trying to, and we'll talk about this in a minute, when we had a very impactful for me World Series run where we played against each other a couple times. And it was right when I felt like I started getting good. But I was looking back for what seasons those were. And then I looked at how many World Series Clone won during that time. And I was like, holy shit. Like he just absolutely dominated. And if he got to the World Series, he was winning. He's great.
I remember when I came into the league and when I came into the league, I was not as nearly as established, you know, as you would think. I think I had like 5 World Series titles at the time and was playing leagues like Third Dimension and places like that in World League or something like that. But I had like 3, 4, 5 World Series titles under my belt. And I came in there and it was the community that drew me in. And it wasn't until after I realized that you will get your butt kicked really quickly in PCL if you don't know what you're doing, that I started looking back at the history and realizing that, hey, here's this guy Clone, and he has stomped a hole in the league the whole time. And I thought, you know, in hindsight now, I can see that a lot of his success is that he just puts a maniacal amount of time into analyzing every piece of minutia in the game. So he understands like who's in free agency, who's not using what player. And he knows your roster better than you do sometimes. And he used it to his advantage. And I mean, kudos to him because, you know, I'm not intimidated by anybody in the game necessarily. But when people are, you know, when we're establishing leg, reestablishing it, you know, quite a few guys were like, "Oh, bring Clone on, bring Clone." That's like, man, I'm not putting that on you guys.
Yeah, you know, he plays it cool, but every once in a while when I'm talking to him about the game, he'll let something slip because he's always like, just talks about how he's just kind of guessing and, you know, whatever. He just kind of, he has hunches, but then every once in a while, like I'll bring up a player name or something and he's like, he'll just say something like, you know, during the regular season, he has like pitcher hitter matchup numbers. And I was like, there's no way you know that unless you went through like everything there. And another time he was talking about, you know, tweaking manager settings by game. And I was like, you might be the only person that's ever done that during the regular season anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I think a little bit of that was going on. There's other owners that have that sort of I'm going to pay attention to every detail mindset, but maybe they don't have the amount of time to apply to it, or maybe they're just not as well known because they're in one league. Because I don't know how you can do that with more than one league. And
for sure.
But you know, and it happened a lot in redraft, I think, in Tournament of Champions.
Yeah.
A lot of guys were doing things. Even I was doing things that I haven't done in 10 years. You know, in the game where I'm looking at spreadsheets. I've got a whole spreadsheet up, and I'm trying to figure out, you know, what's the midpoint average of the league for control, and it's just, and I think I overthought the whole Tournament of Champions experience. but it definitely reinvigorated. I will say that.
That's one of the things I was going to ask you about, because Tournament of Champions was Cologne's idea to, create our site-wide playoffs, right? And it was,
Mhm.
I think it will evolve over time, but I think he did a good job setting it up for this first time, because the people that were in it, you could tell they were as in these leagues in the first season of a league, no emotional attachment to the players or the league, as they've been in anything. And I think when I looked at the playoff races and then the playoffs themselves, I think that was as high level CSFBLing that I've ever seen.
It was the when we got into the final round, in my division, it was CK, uh, Wayne, or WFN,
Yep.
and Cy. And I want to say in the last month of the season, we all held first or second place in the division at some point.
Yeah.
And it was insane. I haven't had that stress level in a long time. If you remember when we used to do the Wolf games over in TCL, I think I said early on, because I remember bringing it over from a different site. Yep. And played in the first couple, and then I told them, everybody's like, well, why don't you play one? I said, because I can't handle the stress level.
It gets very stressful.
It's stressful, and then the amount of time you spend rereading and overanalyzing every little aspect. I said, I can't do it. I will go crazy, because I know the level of detail that I'm going to have to pay to it, and I'm not giving you guys that.
Yeah, some of those Wolf games, they got so personal, like, and you'd get betrayed by somebody, and it was just like, it's going to take me like a week to get over this. It's just like this stupid little game. But I remember one time, I forget exactly what happened, but I got so mad at Afro, and I was like, I'm not talking to him on the forums for like a week, even though he was just doing exactly what he should have done. God, that was stressful.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you were in third place going into the last week of the Tournament of Champions, and you actually finished first, didn't you?
No,
the
I missed the playoffs in the final round. I was in
I mean in the first round.
Yeah. I finished second in the division, and then I beat Bobcat.
Yeah.
To advance. And I want to sit here and tell everybody, oh, that was my plan all along. I built my team for the playoffs. And no, that's a complete lie. I got, I knew I felt very strongly that I could make the playoffs, but the way my team played that whole season, I was just like, man, I'm going to be out in the first round, and I'm not going to hear the end of it. So,
yeah, well, and I mean, it didn't help that like I have been talking you up for months, and so like everybody wanted to beat Pimp, but you've had that for years. I mean, I've talked to Jar about this, where it's like our number one thing is if we can beat Pimp. And you almost, and I mean, this is like the highest compliment I can give you. So you become the measuring stick for a lot of people, but at the same time, talk about stress. Now everybody's gunning for you. Like they want to beat you as much as win the league.
I enjoy it. I don't mind being the guy that people, my favorite thing in the whole game, and it's not anything on the game side, it's when you come to the forum side and people say your name because they're mad because you constantly do something good, or if they celebrate winning, and that I'm a simple man. If you're saying I owned you somehow, I get off on that. I enjoy that. So and then the rivalry that comes from, and I try to do it in a good natured way, and I think that's the reason why I think it plays off pretty well off on the forums and stuff, because I'm just having fun with you guys with it and all. But I love being the black hat guy. I love being the guy that's like I remember my favorite joke I made to Jar one time was what was it? Oh, yeah, I'm gonna rename one of your kids Francisco Watts. That way he knows you will never beat him. Oh
my God, I don't remember that. That is a classic joke. So real quick, for the people that don't know, Francisco Watts was a pitcher that you had that destroyed Jar on numerous occasions.
Yeah, yeah. I have an affinity to developing pitchers. I like to get the super aces, and I seem to be able to squeeze a long career out of them, and I really use them hard in the playoffs. And I love when a guy, Luke has done the same thing. I had a guy named Scott Parsons for a while. He hates that guy, and it made him hate me, and I love that. And so, when people plan the rebuilds around when you're going to be doing well, or they want to join your league but don't want to be in your division, I love that stuff. So
Yeah, let me pull up to the screen. I want to show you this thing that I was talking about that I was looking for before. Let's see. Hopefully. All right. Can you see my screen?
yes,
Okay, so this is just your teams, but what I wanted to show you was the classic league. So and by the way, Durham Math, look at all these Durham Math titles. Look at that. At one
yes,
point he was in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 playoffs or World Series in a row. It's crazy. But
yeah,
this is probably real life, like 2007, and I was trying so hard to get good because like you said, like you
hmm
can get beat up real quick in TCL, and I wasn't even making the playoffs. A couple of times I did. Soldats killed me, and then I had this stretch in this 2005 season where I went to 5 World Series in a row. I put together this just beautiful team. Willie Waltz, who I've talked about on this
hmm
podcast before, love that guy to death. But and this team was dominant. And
yeah,
then look at what happens.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Pimp came in and just lit me up. But this series in particular, this one made me realize like I was positive I had the best team, everything, and 7 games. And this game right here, I still count as the most painful loss in my 17 years of of uh, of CSFBL. Uh, I mean, you probably have forgotten this game 5 times over,
Wait a
but
minute.
I won't ever forget it. It was as hard fought as a game can get. I only had 7 hits, turn that into
hmm
2 runs, but that was it. Ray Martinez, yeah, Ray Martinez that
Yeah,
hit that home run. I don't even. I know you remember guys like Beal and Juan Wilson, but
yeah,
Ray, like when they say Aaron fucking Boone, mine is
yeah, yeah.
Ray fucking Martinez.
Yeah, that was so I joined TCL like '02, the '02 season, '03 season, somewhere like that. Took over from I think Metal Pal was thrown out of the league at that point. And I didn't know enough about the game. I remember trading my best player, a guy named Anthony Williams, to Jacraco, and the whole league was just like, man, you got ripped off. You don't trade an established MVP for draft picks and stuff. And that criticism was like, all right, let me dig a little deeper into this game. And I think Cos was in the league at the time, and he had the whole he was getting ready to tear it all down. So I got guys like Ray Martinez and a couple
Oh,
other
and
guys.
nobody tore it down like Kaz used to.
Oh,
He was
yeah,
like the
yeah.
Miami Marlins of TCL.
Oh yeah, yeah. His I called him the Chicago. You remember the Great Chicago Fire
Fire.
that they talk about? Yeah, I threw a thing on him calling them the Chicago Fire Starters because when it was time for him to burn something down, he really burned it down.
Yep.
And so I made a bunch of trades and finally developed this team. And that team, I can tell you about each one of them players right down the lineup from that game. But the guy that beat you, Gene Smith, was I think a draftee of Metals. And the pitching staff I
Mm.
had on that team was not that good. That was when Leonard Gray won the Cy Young Award
Oh yeah.
over Gigi. And I just went back and forth with Clone. But listen, Gray won like 22 games, 23 games, but he sucked.
Yeah.
And so we went a little bit of back and forth. But yeah,
Well,
that was
that's because your lineup was crazy. I mean, Beal, I think, was
mhm.
on the downswing then, but you had Brantley and Wilson and
Yeah.
Cohen. I mean, that team was crazy.
Yeah. Brantley had like an 1100 OPS 3 years in a row or something. I rode him pretty hard, and that team was a monster. It was an absolute monster. And if you notice, you had won 3, then I won 3. And if you start looking at TCL's history, that's the max anybody's ever won. There's been a couple of 3-peats, and that's it.
Yeah.
You know, I think I got 4 and 5 years one time. Of course, you just saw what the Clone did over like 9 seasons, but nobody's been able to break that 3-peat.
Yeah, I guess I didn't realize that. You're right, though. Nobody has been able to do that. There's enough parity in the league that even if you really built a team perfectly age-wise, nobody has gotten past that number. That's
because everybody is pushing to knock you off, and that's the competition level. When people wonder, well, what's so great about TCL? Because we're over there, we're talking to each other, and we talk about what's going on in the game, and we don't want you to win more than 3 because we don't want your name mentioned as being possibly the best in the league. You know, I can sit there and I've got, I don't know, 20 World Series titles there now. I don't care. It doesn't matter to me because Clone won like 14 and like 25 seasons or something.
Yeah.
So like that's the best, you know, and I think Jelly has maybe a slightly better ratio than I do on World Series seasons, but yeah, it's that, and it's the camaraderie. It's the
9 of my 16, I'm talking out my ass, but I think it's 9 out of 16 of my World Series appearances I played Jelly.
Yeah, I noticed that. That's huge.
Crazy.
Yeah, I think Jar had made a list recently in the record request about most often faced opponents or something in the World Series. And I think y'all were the standard for TCL.
Yeah, it's crazy. We just Jelly's obviously very good. He gets listed in that rarefied air as well. So before we go too much further, I want to talk about League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. You are bringing this league back, and I'm curious. You know, I wasn't in the original leg, and I'm curious. What's the pitch? Like, what made that league special the first time, and why are you bringing it back?
Well, I always, throughout the entire time that I've been playing CSFBL, once I found TCL, I constantly wanted to find the other great leagues with great owners. So I tried them all. I mean, I joined Remake because you about have to go through the remake cycle to say you've done something in CSFBL.
Yep.
And then my other big league has been a league to rule them all, but that was I got a story for that one too. That's a spite league for me, but that's a long one. Yeah,
right.
But we'll come back around to that one.
Yeah.
And then the next most seasons I played in the league was League of Extraordinary Gentlemen. And Joe Blow started that league, and he just wanted a hyperactive league where the gentleman part was almost it did not apply.
It was a bit of a misnomer.
It was.
I don't know if that was intended or it just became that, but
it just devolved into that because you just know if you get 20 to 24 good owners into a league, there's going to be some headbutting. I mean, we both. I think we had our LEG Discord channel open for 24 hours before we had our first, somebody wanted to quit. Yeah. and so, but I wanted to reestablish it because at one point, I think and I was playing both in TCL and LEG and Chai Data and Remake at the time. And to me, LEG was 1B to TCL's 1A. As far as activity on the forums, as far as competitiveness, every league is going to have 2 or 3 guys that are kind of filling space every now and then. They pop their head up every 10 seasons or so. LEG was not that way. Yeah, everybody was a threat, and I had some real barn burners, and I was in there for 93 seasons. And when the user records came out, and I got to see how long I was in there, I said, well, that's a league worth bringing back.
Yeah, it really is. And and so bringing it back, what is the what's the hook? Is the hook just that you're trying to make this the most competitive league, or
We're not really going for most competitive, even though there is going to be a high competition factor in it, just by the names that are in it.
I can see the names already. Yeah.
Yeah. So I wanted to stay true to the roots of LEG. So I recruited as many former owners, especially the longtime owners, as I could. And so we got back quite a few guys.
You got Joe Blow.
We got Joe Blow back, and I was shocked. I didn't even know he was still on the site.
That's awesome.
And I messaged him. He's like, "Yeah, I want to be a part of anything as long as I don't have to do any commissioning work." He was fine with it. Boise, he was a commissioner there for a long time. He jumped forward, and then Balmers and CK are the ones that really helped me, and Bobcat really helped me get the ball rolling. They helped me edit the rules and come up with a new rule set. We wanted to try some things, experiment with some things. We wanted to make allocations easier, but without making them forgotten about. We wanted to keep that part of the management aspect. So we have a $65 million cap during the preseason that changes to a $55 million cap after FOA locks.
Got it.
So you get $10 million of FOA regardless.
And how long do you have to switch it, or do you pause it and then make everybody?
We're gonna do a sim pause on 4-1, and then we're gonna have a
That's
10
a good idea. That's a really good idea.
Well, I got that. I'll tell you where I got that. MLB World. Snowwind, who was in the TOC, he runs that league, and it's a wheel draft league, and they have preseason free agents, and he does a sim pause on 4-1 to assign all the PSFAs and to give people a chance to make their free agent bids on the non-drafted guys. And so I was like, man, that's a nice little mechanism. I'm stealing that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So we did that, and then we're going with the old school 10-man low minors. So you can't have 20, you can only have 10.
Okay.
We're gonna manually check that, but it's a hard cap. And then we're gonna do a Rule 5 draft. We're not sure that it's going to.
I love that.
I don't know how much it's going to affect things with that $55 million hard cap during the season, but we got time to re-examine it. But we're going to run it during the playoffs. So on the last day of the season, on 9/30, your AAA roster is eligible to be drafted from. We're going to take a snapshot of it and all that stuff, and then we're going to do waiver style. Everybody will submit a list of players they're interested in, and then you get who you get. You got to carry them on your roster, I think, through the end of next season or through FOA. They can't be cut or released.
But if you get somebody, you got to drop under 55 still, right?
I think we said that we were going to give a waiver. So the 55 is soft for draftees
And Rule 5.
during the flip and for the Rule 5. But if the rule, we considered making a rule where if you drafted a guy in the Rule 5 and they had no experience, they had to gain a year of experience. But we're just going to see how it goes, and then if we need to make an adjustment down the road, we will. So and so we've got different dates. So 9/30, you set your AAA roster that's eligible for draft, and then by the next round of the playoffs, you have to send your list in, and then by the end next round of the playoffs is when we'll announce and reassign players. So it kind of gives the teams that aren't in it maybe a little more incentive to be around the forums and pay attention. And we're just gonna see how it goes, and at least work through the mechanism of it. We do have an 8-team lottery. The bottom 8 teams all get equal chance at the number 1 pick.
I thought you were doing a wheel draft as well. You're doing an 8-team lottery. Okay,
Yeah.
that's fun. I mean, you can do lotteries a couple different ways, and I'm not sure what the right number is. How did you choose 8? Was it just simply based on the 24 teams and do the bottom third?
Well, LEG historically had an 8-team lottery. Yeah. So the top 8 teams, and they had the weird. Remember the no static videos with bingo balls and all that stuff. Yeah. And they had this reverse lottery with these weird odds and all this stuff, and it was a whole thing, and it made for entertaining content.
Yep.
But it was complicated, and so
it was a lot of work. Yeah.
Yeah, and we didn't want people fighting for the bottom to have the best odds of the lottery. We even considered for a moment reverse odds, where if you finished the 8th worst team, you had the best chances of
Oh, so
winning the
you
lottery.
fight for every game. Yeah, but that I can see how that becomes
Yeah,
problematic. Yeah.
yeah, it becomes problematic. So we just said equal odds. So once you know you're one in the bottom third of the league, I mean, you don't have to like, worry about, oh, I need to lose 3 more games than this guy so that
Yeah.
and we don't end up
Because
with those.
if you do that, then you have this weird like middle tanking where people are trying to go
Yeah.
16 or 17, and it could mean the difference between the 9th pick or the 1st,
Yeah,
whatever.
and we've got some restrictions in there as well. So like you can't win the number 1 pick more than once in a 3-year period. You can't if you're in the lottery 3 years in a row, the 4th year, if you happen to make it in the lottery, you're 8th. And that's just it. We're not going to keep letting you stock up, over the long term like that. So we got a couple minor restrictions on that.
Let me ask you about this. So I'm pulled it up, and these are the owners in now. Obviously, there's you're approaching Murderers Row level guys here. It was nice to see Hank. Actually, I haven't seen him in a long time. How are you recruiting for this? And if somebody's interested, can they apply?
Well, the other 9 teams are filled. We're actually having we had all the owners that are in there now previously owned those teams at some point in LEG.
Oh, got it.
So that's why so we gave previous owners that we took in the option of taking their previous team, or they could be in a team lottery, which that's what the other 9 teams are. So the other 9 teams are available via lottery, which we're doing that. I think we're doing that lottery today, as well as the top 8 pick lottery today.
Oh, so you got a lot of interest enough that you can do a lottery for these picks. All right, well, good for you.
Yeah. So and I'm trying to remember the list, but it's like Christo, Perry Carter. Oh heck, I'd have to pull it up off the forms, but
and
but we have 9 different teams, and it's the list of extra owners is pretty impressive. So I'm trying to get my view down here.
I gotta ask, I can understand completely how Jackie Robinson and Kurt Flood are gentlemen. What I'm struggling with is Kenny Powers, Steve Buscemi, Louis the 16th, and Edgar Allan Poe. Are those historical names for this league?
No, they were. There was a time where when you won the World Series, you could rename your division. So some people take that seriously, and some people just do what they want to do.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I think the King Louis division was always the King. It was always the King Louis division since I joined. I joined like the 6th season in or something. But so that's what happened with that.
Gotcha. I was curious about that because like Louis the 16th didn't he get beheaded? Was it like, yeah, it doesn't feel like he was and so I looked it up, and then I was like, and then I got to this, the film, and I didn't know if it was based on the film or not, but anyways.
Well, so the other teams that other owners that are coming in that aren't on the league page, let's see, Christo 0425, Gentlemen's Club.
I mean, he has the name for it. You almost have to let him in.
I mean, absolutely, and he came highly recommended too. L. Hugh, we got him in there. That was a pretty good get for us.
Yep.
Moden is in there. Perry Carter, that was another big get. VI Incandenza, who was in the TOC championship game.
Oh, I was rooting for him. I thought he had a great team.
That was a fun watch too.
Yep.
That's those playoffs. WFN 71 joined us.
He is a very good owner. I wasn't as familiar with him until I got more involved with the game, and then I started looking at all the success he has. He's super dangerous.
Oh yeah. I feel like his brother
Nermdog
might feel a little bullied by him in the game. So because he did not treat him well in the TOC first round. And then the 2 that I was surprised to get, and these are the last 2 names. We got Vashon to join the league.
Wow.
which,
Nice.
yeah, I don't even know when the last time he had a team.
Whew,
And then the
maybe.
guy with the record for what most playoff seasons in a row, M. Hardy.
Oh,
Um,
nice. Nice,
yeah.
nice.
So yeah, we got him to try test his skills against our group, and I think it's going to turn into a very interesting experiment to see how it lasts. But I mean, it's anytime you've joined a new league like this, there's going to be an attrition rate during the first 5 seasons,
Yep.
but I feel pretty good about our ownership quality there and the activity level. And I think 20 out of 24 owners are on Discord and have posted on Discord. And then we have one owner who will probably not join Discord at all. And then we have 3 others who we've asked to join Discord, but they haven't signed on yet. So
Yeah.
um,
That's good. Just real quick, I'm curious how you feel about Discord. I'm starting to fall in love with it more because I like the active nature of the conversations that happen. I think
mhm.
we're starting to see Discord communities work out how they use their forums too, and I think that's always been an important thing because, as you know, uh, for years, I don't know if I still do, but I had the most posts on the forum. I love the forums,
Mhm.
but they're like it, figuring out how to marry the two because I think there's room for both of them or some form of each of them.
I, my initial thoughts on Discord was, oh, this is like when I first joined and everybody had AIM, you know,
Oh
and it's
yeah,
going to be
yeah, yeah.
it's going to be a real easy way to talk trade and just shoot shit about the game and who's in the game and who you don't like and all that kind of stuff that happens, and it's actually turned into a very easy way to organize things and to have real-time conversations, and where I don't know how much it helps on a league level, but I think on a site-wide level, the conversations that we're having, the forums were never really great for that. We had all these open forums for the league at wide, open discussion, record book, and all this stuff, and it got some action. But I think that I think Discord is going to help with that in a way that we always wanted chat box to do it.
Yes. Yeah, very much so. And
Yeah.
you're right about AIM. Like that was almost I remember that being a requirement in a lot of leagues that you just had to have AIM for communication. And so that's a good way of looking at it. I mean, Discord is like AIM from a usability of chat, but you're right. It's so easy to organize things. It's so easy to, it's also so easy to drop in on other conversations happening. Like I got really stuck in the TCL forum where I didn't go to
Mhm.
the main boards, but that
Yeah.
doesn't happen to me on Discord. It's really easy to bounce back and forth. And so I was thinking at some point, like I know there'll be some pushback, but I would love to get TCL onto Discord, and we're going to have to do that at some point.
Yeah, I think anybody that hasn't tried it yet should at least give it a week, get on there, give it a shot. It's it's not gonna get it's not gonna make the forums obsolete. The forums are
It can't.
necessary for historical preservation of and for keeping all the data that's necessary to keep your league alive. At least until we develop at some point something on the game side that stores the stuff that we actually already write about on the forums, things like your live trade forums or your draft history forums, things like that. You would hope at some point it's going to integrate onto the game side. But for now, the forums are necessary because you got to have a way to, and it's a good place to find new owners and see how other leagues talk and see people's activity levels and things like that. But Discord is just it's a shinier version right now of AIM, and it works off of the whole networking and interacting with each other and really doing it in a way that allows people to enjoy one another and build those type of relationships that are necessary so that we see each other not as, oh, that's a game veteran, that's a game noob, and turn your nose up at them and stuff, but in a way where you interact with each other as baseball fans and
Yep.
CSFBL fans and fans of other things and have real interactions, because the more we personify each other and get to know each other and see each other's faces and stuff, then it makes the game more community based, and that's real important for the growth.
It's so important. I said this before, like the reason that I always wanted to get involved with the game is, number one, because I thought I could help on the business side, but also like I wanted to pay it backward, because when no one else was there for me during my dark times, uh, CSFBL was, the TCL was. That's where I met a lot of people. That became my community in many ways. And when I think about like forward thinking what this could do, it could just do that for a lot more people. There's such a great community. There's a good
Mhm.
demographic all across the country, and in some cases the world, of people that are living different lives but have similar experiences. And so like when like I was going through my divorce, which was a dark time for me, or whatever it was, like the community was great at that time. Also great, not just from a sympathetic, but also like a, all right, enough of that, bitch. I'm gonna make fun of your mama. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
like it's just a great group of like a locker room atmosphere that, after you get out of high school or college, you don't have that in your life as much, and this provided that for me.
Well, if you think back to the things that our dads maybe did or whatever, they and I'm in a couple of things like this. They had clubs that they went to, Moose Lodge or a Ruritan Club or
Hmm.
or the Masons, or they had a sportsman's club or a bowling league or whatever, and it allowed, not that we don't want to have female players in the game, but
Love it.
allowed men to be around men
Hmm.
without their wives around. And something I read a long time ago was that steel sharpens steel. And for steel to sharpen steel, that means you need other men and male friendships and things like that around you to gauge your growth as a person, so
Yep.
that when the young so when a guy like you or me goes through a divorce, I can go on the forums and I can point out a dozen people who talked to me during my divorce and told me, hey, look, I've been through this, or I've been through similar. It's going to be this, it's going to be that. You're going to feel like this. This is what you ought to do. But some people do this, and you get all this advice, or go to this site or do this thing and don't be ashamed and all this type of stuff. And those type of things are the things that our previous generation pre-internet did, but they did it locally with their local clubs, and they did it and they had a good time with it too. And then they ribbed each other, they joked on each other, and that's what this can be. I think it's a social club of people who love baseball numbers and fantasy stats, and we all have a team we root for, and that's, I think that camaraderie, if you choose to tap into it as a player in this game, it's there for you, and I think it's more valuable than the game itself.
Yeah, I totally agree. The community is what does and will make this successful. It's why, like during 10 years where there wasn't much development happening,
Yeah.
that all these people still stuck around was very much for the community. So
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, we just got to figure out the thing that those old men's clubs back in the day never figured out, and that's how to keep the next generation involved.
that's right.
You know,
That's
and
right.
that's why I'm happy to have a guy like LQ join our
Yeah.
league, because I want that guy to be around. That's going to be here 10 more years from now, when I'm only going to play one team, and and he's running 4 leagues. I want those guys around.
Yep, and it keeps it fresh too. Like he
Yeah.
LU added a bunch to redraft for us, like in a new way that we could draft. I mean, he
Mhm.
helped out a ton that with things that we just didn't have around, and so I think that needs to continue to happen. You're exactly right,
Yeah.
because currently the 500 of us that were around just kept aging together, and now we
That's
got
right.
to we got to really get into this next generation. Um,
Absolutely.
the So not only do we give each other advice, but we've given each other gifts from time to time. Now,
Yes.
I before we got on, I noticed, and I forgot, remiss to not mention that you got a pimp behind you, which I think is awesome. It's sparkly, it's beautiful.
Yep.
Uh, but but I sent you a Pimp in glass several years ago, and you got mad at me and threw it on the ground and smashed it. And I'd like you to answer it for yourself.
I'll let everybody have that story. I let Luke can believe that. I want Jar to believe that. I want CK to believe that. Anybody, if I've ever broken your heart in this game, I destroyed a beautiful Pimp chalice.
It was beautiful too.
It was beautiful. As a matter of fact, if you look, I recently changed my forum avatar because I had that old lady talking about, of all these flavors, you chose salty or whatever, and I changed it to a Pimp chalice, much like the one you sent me. And I want everybody to know that you can believe that I destroyed that Pimp chalice because of something I did.
Yep.
Something you did to me.
What did actually happen? Didn't somebody open the door and knock it off the table or something?
I did. I had it sitting on top of my computer tower, and there was a little door right there on the hutch. I opened it, fell, and it broke, and it broke my heart. It broke me.
Now, and so I need to get you a new one of those at some point. But you got me a gift too. So we passed around the belt and TCL, which actually you should have right now because I do believe you're still the champ.
I'm the current champ.
Yep, and I have not sent you the belt, but so I got this box with the belt. And one time when Pimp won, I don't know, I still don't know how you did this, but he burned my face into it. That was in like 2016 or something.
It was pretty far back, but yeah, that's about right.
That's pretty impressive. How'd you get that done?
I had a local friend that had gotten into woodworking and burning images into wood things, and that was his little side hustle. And he was just getting started. And I'm big on, since we're in a small town, when somebody starts a local small business, whatever, support early and brag about it, support often if you can. And he was doing that, and I said, "Listen, I've got this old box that we've been shipping this thing around in. Awesome. Build me a new box, or maybe that box is already there." I said, "But I want to burn this image, And so I took some image you posted, I think, when you joined your company.
Yeah, on it. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I did a little bit of editing to put the TCL into the background there.
It's good.
It turned out really well when he burned it, and then I sent it on its way.
Now. But when Luke sent it back to me, I've mentioned this on another podcast. He put a New York Yankees pennant in here for some reason, and just because I'll never not take an opportunity to show everybody the belt. That's the belt that's been going around. A lot of stories behind the belt, but what do you? Is Luke a Yankees fan?
No, he's an Angels fan.
So why did you
put that in there?
Oh, maybe it was Jelly. I thought it was somebody talking trash at me after joining Remake, because you are both the Yankees as in Remake, but you're also the Yankees like as an owner, like, because everybody does want to beat you. And so I got this damn pennant. I don't know what to do with it, but I'm certainly not going to hang it up.
Please don't. I'm actually a lifelong Mets fan, so I'm enjoying that currently with our new owner, Steve Cohen, that we might be turning into the new version of the Yankees because we have the biggest billionaire on the block now. But I remember when I joined when I got to Remake Majors, I was not happy about getting the Yankees.
Oh no!
I wanted the Mets. I mean, I just and then.
The Yankees had the most history with the old goalkeeper things, and there's a lot of history with that team.
Well, once I got looking at the history and then started going through the forums and reading the old stories, I was like, oh yeah, this is the team to have. I want the team. I like being hated, so this is the team to have if you want to be hated. And that team has been just as successful as any other team I've had.
You're the current champion there too. Let's bring that up. You got the trophy next to it. Look at this. Everybody needs to just drool over this. Look at that.
That's a lot of rings.
That is a lot of pennants, a lot of rings, a lot of tapestry there. What year did you start? Do you know? Well, how many of these World Series are yours?
I don't know if the 09 and 11 ones are mine, but everything after 2011 is definitely me. So, so I can't remember who had them before I did.
Yeah, I was trying to
Like Jose Rapinino or somebody like that. They have it on somewhere. But even before I got them, they already had a great history. I think the entire history of the remake Yankees, there's one 100 loss season.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Oof.
yeah. So
that is
yeah, and another good thing is in my most recent playoffs in remake, I faced Slick, and he let me know he was facing me, and he was very much looking forward to it, and it was a heavyweight bout. I mean, it was very back and forth, 1-run games, extra inning games, 7 full games. I mean, it was
a barn burner.
It was really good. So he got his pimp mark that day.
Yeah, and 2 years ago, I was very fortunate to edge you out of the playoffs with my Cleveland Indians. That's my team there. And I remember you said this is the low point of my CSFBL career. And I was like, yeah. That made me feel so good. Unfortunately, I wanted to beat Slick too, and I did not. And now I don't know what the hell's happening this year, or at least I didn't, because I'm like 18 and 34, and I didn't know what could possibly be going on. And then, Pimp, I discovered what happened, and I'd like to share it for you right now, because this is the time in history that we're at.
Particular actor, I guess Charlie Sheen isn't the most inappropriate choice.
There it is. There. I'm bringing the Wild Thing back, and the Cleveland Indians are about to become the greatest team in remake. This is actually signed by Charlie Sheen with that's when he was Tiger blooding out. These are actual authentic Wild Thing glasses. I got my Wild Thing jersey. It even has yeah. I'm all in. I'm all in.
See, the only thing you messed up was when you got your haircut, you didn't get the little jagged things.
I got them right here.
Here you go.
And then I checked, and this is the exact record that the Cleveland Indians had in the movie when they started making their comeback, when they started pulling the dress off of the owner. And so I just want you to get ready, because the Yankees were in first place then too, and the Wild Thing's coming, baby.
Hey, I'm all for it. Step on up.
I'm all in on remake now. This is now my #1 league, and all I'm trying to do is beat the Yankees. And Pete Vukovich, who is a Brewers pitcher, was actually the guy that was the Yankees hitter. I forgot what his name was, but
yeah.
I'm
all for it, man.
This is the first time in a podcast I did a fast costume change.
I know, wardrobe change, no malfunctions either.
Well, yeah, that's why I turned off the video. I didn't know how that was going to go. But I do love remake, man. Like, remake is, you said it earlier, it's like it's almost a rite of passage. If you're going to say you did something in CSFBL, you would better have spent the 2.5 years it takes to work your way up to the majors in remake. I did it twice. And first time I was with the Reds, but I was only there for a little while. But now, like, dude, I love being the Indians. I love the movie Major League. I love that it was filmed in Wisconsin.
Euchre was the broadcaster.
Euchre was the broadcaster, exactly. Yep. And their arch enemies were the Yankees.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything good's happening here.
Remake, I will say, in the last couple years here, has really been revitalized. And I'll give Slick a lot of credit on that. I mean, I don't know who else is on on the remake committee that makes sure everything runs well. I think Pedro's on it too as well. And they have done a really bang up job of recruiting and getting the lower leagues filled and making sure that owners are held accountable and stuff, and just trying to, bring up the quality level there. So kudos to him for that, because it was a heck of a job. I did that job for a while for remake, and it's
tough.
it's tough. It's
I
tough.
mean,
It's
there's
tough.
just
It's
so
double
much,
possible to keep full.
and it's
So
so much because, well, it was so much more when you had to do the draft, because you were having a lot of times the commissioner of AAA doing the draft for both AA and AAA
yeah,
or something like that. And thankfully, we got that out of the way, because you mentioned it before. We lost a lot of owners just because we burned them out because of the draft and some of those other things. So I'm hoping that, like we were talking about before the start of the podcast, that now we can, now that we have owner stats, which I think people will just be interested in looking at, we have the draft, so it doesn't burn people out. But then also we're, starting to speed things up. We have multiple full-time developers now, and I'm hoping that when we send something out to some of these old owners and legends, that we can get some of them back and let them know that times are a change.
yeah, absolutely. The biggest takeaway I took from that last podcast, though, was when you brought up the old mentoring leagues and stuff like that. And that's a thing that all the current owners. The other thing that drove me to reestablish leg was that because y'all took care of the draft, half of my job in the league rule them all was gone. Like half of my job was just organizing the draft, sending out lists and all that type of stuff. And so now I found myself with more time on my hands and a little bit more motivation because of the direction of the game to want to do more, And I talked to you a little bit about this before the podcast started. I spoke to Moden recently. Is that I feel more motivated to do more in the game because I know the game is being invested in, and that we have real leadership and real direction, and we got just more resources than we've ever had, both creative and financial. And so I can't code. I've done moderating, and I don't like being a moderator at all. I found I said, what can I do? What I can do is I can bring back great leagues like LEG. I can create better networking amongst owners just by reaching out to them, using things like Discord to talk to people, make yourself open to others, bring a mentor under your own wing and be like, listen, if somebody's in your league and that they're struggling, say, hey, talk a little trade with them, and then talk to them about what they're doing with the team. And how I do sometimes. My main gimmick in talking trade with people, if I have full scouting, I'm gonna tell you all about your team.
Yeah, you always do
what you need, and I'm going to be very honest about what I think you should do, and I'm going to try to sell you something. But but I'll also tell you, listen, if this ain't the right fit, you should go after this guy's guy because he's got this extra piece here, and that'll help the team. And I know it'll pay for itself down the road.
You've done that for me multiple times when it just didn't work out as a trade. You were like, well, you should go try and land whoever. And a lot of times it got me thinking about something maybe I wouldn't have thought about before. And then it turns out to be a different mutually beneficial trade. So yeah, I appreciate that about you.
Yeah, well, and I think that's a good way if us veterans can that's the best way to mentor a new owner. It's like, listen, this is how you can help me, but you don't have to help me. If you really want to help yourself, go knock on this guy's door because he needs to cut salary to make his cap number, and he's got this guy sitting on his active roster that can help you right now. So, and if by doing that, it's going to create this relationship, and that's what it is at the end of the day. All this stuff is relationship stuff, and if I want 24 guys that I can talk trash to and enjoy time with, and I want to, with things like this, with these podcasts and stuff, I want to know what their face looks like. So that way I can put a name to a face, and then Perry Carter is a good example. When you hear him talk and you see his face, he comes off on written word. He's very brash and very direct, and and you're thinking there's this hard edged guy, and then like he's on here with like soft wolf ears,
Yeah, yeah.
hat
Or doing
stuff.
tutorial videos or
Yeah, he's
whatever.
quiet storm voice going on, and he's doing tutorials and stuff like that. And you find out, hey, I mean, we're all decent people, you know,
Yep.
and we should really learn to enjoy that. So,
Man,
you know,
I can't tell you how much I appreciate your leadership there, just because you know, y- because of your standing in the game, it really adds so much when you're bringing back a league like leg, because the tournament champions was brilliant. Slick coming in and breathing life into remake was brilliant. This is the first time that we've really come back with a big league like leg, and a lot of people are talking about it, and so
mhm.
and you didn't need to do that, so I really do appreciate that, and I think hopefully it uh, gives you back more than you put into it, because I really do think that's a great idea for a legacy league, and
Yeah.
you know it's good.
No, yeah, I'm with you on that. There's a lot of leagues that we've lost throughout the years that in hindsight you wish that I wish we could have kept them going even at a minimum level, so that way the history didn't get lost. And some leagues early on when they were first cleaning up the site, purging leagues and stuff, and now you're just like, oh,
Yeah.
don't throw away anything, don't throw away any data at all. I mean, if you want to throw away a 3-year-old Greek league, that's fine, but I think one that I remember was we were merging a lot of leagues, and I think there was a league called True American Baseball. I think Rockman 52 ran that league, and I had like a 400 game winner over there, and he's gone.
And you want to
He's
see them. Yeah,
he's lost
yeah,
the history, and I want to see him because my big thing with players, I love players with long careers with one team.
yep.
And what I really hate is when an owner has a player that they should have for a long time and they let him go. If you remember early on in TCL, Lemke had a guy named Daniel Cobb.
Oh yeah, and then we passed him around just to teach him a lesson. He played on
Just teach him a lesson.
like 12 teams that season.
Yeah, because you when you cut a guy, you should if it's at all possible, try to get them to retire with you.
Yep.
And or else they're gonna be like Willie Mays playing for the Mets.
Yep.
And it's just I don't want that for any of my players. I've held on to players with ratings that were just abysmal, and they were like a $3 million cap hit. I'm gonna eat it.
I traded back for both Johnny Roundtrip and Rufus
Mhm.
Mickelson because I had to have him retire as a Cardinal. But I hated seeing those two ever playing for anybody else. So now I have this guy, like 5-time MVP Victor Slate. He's
Mhm.
never getting traded. His ratings are rough. I don't care.
Yeah.
That guy's playing second base for the next couple of years until he retires. I
And
want
that's
his perfect card.
and that's a perfect example of there's different types of owners in the game, and there's a whole group of owners that don't care about that at all, and that's fine, because you should enjoy the game. You want to enjoy it. That's one thing that I think we're starting to lose a little bit, is that it's okay for people to enjoy the game different ways. Some people only care about, when the user records came out, they only care about whether you got a ski slope,
Yeah.
for your thing, and I'm like, listen, I mean, honestly, the way it should look, it should be like a bell curve. You should win every now and then, and you should be really bad every now and then. But most of your time, if it's a competitive division, you should be second, third, fourth a lot, in a very competitive division. Ski slopes means somebody's dominating your division, and there's a talent imbalance of some sort. But everybody should enjoy the game the way they want to.
That's a good point.
It's not just about who's built up the best record. And there's a little bit of that going around, a little bit of chest thumping, and that's fine, because we knew user records would do that. Anytime you can rank yourself against another man, you're going to measure yourself. But but we can do that without there's this inspirational speaker guy, Gary Vaynerchuk, Gary V,
For sure.
and a thing that he likes to say is, I don't have to tear down your building to make my building taller. I can build my building as tall as I want to do with it, and it doesn't have anything to do with your building. So if some owner, brand new owner, wants to lose 100 games 3 years in a row in some Greek league, let him do it and let him enjoy it and let him win the game and learn the game the way he wants to. But we don't need to be shaming people or tearing them down or belittling them. You know, if an owner wants to have the same 9 guys start every game for 20 seasons in a row, let them have it.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy it, and they're fun. You know, and then and then if you want to base it off of user records, and go beat up on people with user records.
Yeah,
You know,
that
got it like that.
I'm gonna clip this out. That's a beautiful way that you said that. And you know, you talk about going back to find some of those greater historic players, and that's what I found myself doing more than anything with user records. I actually wasn't looking at the victories and losses as much as I was going back and looking at the players. I was looking at the iconic seasons. I went back and looked at you know, our World Series. I think it really. The interesting thing about CSFBL is I'm running it almost like it's a startup, but it's 20 years old. So we have this beautiful thing where we have all this data, all these proof of concept. We have all these long-term users, but it's effectively just starting as a company now, because before it was an online game and a cool one, but now it's a business. And so it starts it in such a unique way that's making it a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's almost like we've been in beta for 20 years, right? You
Yeah,
know,
right.
And we're ready to, you know, now we're preparing for launch, you know, and everything's ramping up. And like I said, you know me, I have a lot of faith in the game and the community and all, but I just want everybody to remember, because I'm starting to see a little bit where people are stressing out about their records and stuff, and I just don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Listen, if you think somebody is not good at the game, message them, talk to them about the game. You know, if you're so great at the game, show me by making somebody else a better manager. You know, if you're really that great at the game, you know, don't just go out there and hoard your trade secrets. You know, make the game better for everybody. You know?
I knew that when we put that out, there'd be some chest thumping, like you said. There's also some gamification where it's like, well, I could just jump into a bunch of Greek leagues and dominate them just to up my overall score. And people are going to do that a little bit, but I hope what people really get out of it is the awesome historical context of this, because I think that's so much more important. But you're right, because like you go into a league like TCL, we were talking about how nobody's won more than 3 in a row. There's going to be people that have a little bit of a ski slope, but most people are flat or all over. And that's actually, like you said, what you should want, because that means you're actually challenging yourself.
Exactly. There's leagues I could jump into. You know, a league to rule them all. I'll use as an example. That's my league. And I've been running it for about 90% of the time that it's been in existence. And I think I made the playoffs something like 50 years in a row or something, and I've never had a losing record there. It's because it's overall an easier league to play in for me. It's a wheel draft, which favors better owners because you get overcompensated in draft picks over time if you win a lot. And I accept any type of user, any type of experience level there, because I think everybody should have a chance to join a very good private league that's well commissioned. You know, especially back when we had to do the drafts. You know, the worst thing you can do is join your first private league and they don't have a good commissioner and they don't actually do the live draft properly or whatever, you know. So I know my record over there is inflated. I think it's like 30 World Series titles in 100 seasons or something like that. And it's a lot. But it's not indicative. It's indicative of the talent level of the league as a whole. It's gotten a lot more competitive there lately. But you know, I don't toot my horn on that. Other people do that for me. I don't have to worry about that. But it's, you know, if you're dominating something, find something better and really test your skills.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room.
Yeah. If you're not willing to challenge yourself, then what are you doing?
Yeah. Steel sharpens steel, like you said earlier, right? Steel sharpens steel.
That's right. You know, and if I know there's plenty of owners that when they've joined TCL and been around us for 10, 12, 15 seasons, their skills get better.
No doubt.
Not everybody, but most people that care about winning and care, they come to TCL and they get better, and they take that to another league, and then all of a sudden that's they're one of the top 3 owners in their new league. So
Yep.
and
Yep.
that's why I wanted to bring LEG back, because it was another one of those proving grounds. And you got to have these proving grounds out here, so that way when we're comparing our user records, we want to compare some apples to apples.
Yeah. Leg's a good one. That's the first time I've heard of the fact that not only well, I mean, you did recruit, but you had more interest than you had teams. And that's a really good sign of things to come.
I oversold the flight.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had to withdraw some offers to join the league, and some of it was people that were in the league before.
Oh.
And yeah, and I didn't like it. It was a bad look for me. And it's because I got the cart ahead of the horse, and I was getting excited because originally my idea was I was going to make LEG more like what it was towards the end, which is a low drama, easy commish type league. But I realized really quickly that that's just not where it needed to be. And so we recruited we brought back all the owners that were longtime owners for sure.
Yep.
But a couple guys didn't get in at the end there. And then we also, if we think an owner is going to be a problem potentially or anything like that, we were going for low drama, people that people can get along with. And so some people didn't get invites, and I'm sure I've been messaged by a few people. And, I told them straight up, I was like, listen, we were going for a certain aesthetic to this league. And while we respect you as an owner, we just didn't decide to invite you.
Yeah.
And that's a hard conversation to have.
But it becomes the restaurant with the waiting list, right? Because it makes it more exclusive and hopefully makes more people want to compete to get in.
Yeah. And getting in isn't a vote. It's me and whoever my commission team is, which is Balmers and CK, and we're going to take a poll of the league and let everybody send us their voting numbers. But at the end of the day, we're going to decide.
Yeah.
Because we're not going to bring oil into water and blow up our mixture over here or anything like that. We're thinking more about the long-term health of the league. And so that's the route we're going with it.
That's good to have some controlled chaos there. I think that's the right way to do it, especially if you have the North Star of exactly where you want the league to end up.
Yeah. I want it to be one of the leagues where if you want to prove yourself, that's where you're going. But I want it to be like TCL, where there's an opening every year and a half in real life.
Yeah, right. Yep. No, that's exactly right. Well, one thing I mentioned Victor Slate. One thing I have not said on the podcast or publicly ever that I'm just going to break it right now. The reason Victor Slate is so important to me is because when I started fielding offers for On It, when I put it up for sale, you have to do all of these things to prepare. One of them, though, is because you want to stay anonymous initially, so that people can judge you based on your book's trajectory, whatnot. They send letters of interest, and then you start talking. But it all has to stay private, both for a company like Unilever, but also other private equity, et cetera. So you go by a code name, and so when I was picking the code name, I decided that this was I won't get into the big On It story of this, but it was an attempt to make a clean slate, and so I decided to call it Project Slate, but it was also slate is a metamorphic rock that is formed under heat and pressure, and certainly my team had gone through a lot of heat and pressure over the last several years. So a lot of reasons I named it Slate. And then Victor is obviously because going for the ultimate victory of my professional career anyway. And so I named him Victor Slate during the process and as a good luck charm. And we won the World Series and sold On It in the same week. So I'm counting that as he's my ultimate good luck charm. So I couldn't trade him ever, even if I wanted to. It would be blasphemy.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, I love it when like we let our CSFBL lives bleed into our real life. I mean, and we got a unique way of doing it because we have our meetups and all that stuff, and we'll sit there and out loud we're talking trash to each other about players and games and stuff on the subject of CSFBL and TCL specifically in a crowded room or casino or whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a conversation that can only be had by these group of guys.
that's right.
And I mean, there's the jerseys that have been made, and I mean, here,
Oh, you're wearing the 10-year.
yeah,
Yeah, from Vegas. Boise made those.
yeah. And Boise was relatively new to our league at that time. And
Yeah,
he jumped all in. If there was ever a TCL guy that joined the league, that's him.
dude, he is TCL through and through. Like the two guys that I was so when Boise started, like it was like he had been there for a decade already. And then
Yeah,
when Luke started, it was like
yeah.
he had been there forever too, because Luke knew the history better than a lot of people that had been around that whole time.
It was shocking how deep he dug into our form history. I mean, he was quoting stuff. I mean, he was like an Andujar, like a Jar protege almost. Jar is the best at recalling obscure minutia of our form history.
He has
And
more Easter eggs in everything he says than anybody, and if you get it, it's amazing.
yeah, he is the court jester at times, but Jar, I can't say enough good things about the content he has created for us in TCL. I mean,
Mhm.
he's great in general at the game and as a guy and as a friend, and all that. But the content he creates in TCL is just it's some pretty good stuff. Everybody raised their game up when he started coming
Oh yeah, no, for sure, for
up.
sure. Wait, yeah, I uh, I feel like there's a jar standard whenever you're trying to make a joke or put out a video or whatever, and it just highlights there's just good people all the way through this game. It is just
Yeah,
good humans that are finding maybe a little bit of escape from real life, or
mhm,
maybe a little bit of therapy for real life, or maybe
yeah,
just to scratch that competitive itch that all of us have. But I just think that's like why I'm so sure that this is going to be successful, because it's been successful for 15 years. And now we're going to add a whole bunch of cool shit to it. And
yeah,
then hopefully a lot of new blood. And going back to something you said before, it's really important that we're not focused on records or victories when I do open the gates and we do let a lot of new users in. It's all of our
yeah.
responsibility to welcome and teach and mentor, because that is going to be the new blood and new air, the oxygen that the game needs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's like you were saying earlier too. There have been we've all of us TCL guys have had dark times in our lives, and a lot of us have leaned on the forums and with the other owners and our friends in TCL to get us through real life stuff. And that means to me, and I've donated plenty of money to the game over time, not a ton, but I'm like, back then it was like $25 a year for free advertise or whatever. I owe the game so much, in my opinion, just on a support level that's why I don't mind giving my time to the
Yep.
game,
Yep.
because I can never repay it for the friendships I've formed. Listen, I can tell you on one hand the number of times I've flown out of town to go see people, and three of them are y'all. you
Yeah.
know, and
Yeah. Yeah. I'm with you on that. Yep.
and you meet guys, and when you meet them in real life, you're like, you're nothing like I thought you. You know,
Yeah. Yep.
that first meeting was a little weird because I know I was very, I'm a guy who I'll stay really quiet and listen a lot early on. I want to get a temperature of the room
What was the
before
first one you were at? Minneapolis?
Minneapolis, and Joe called me out on it. He's like, listen, because we started talking about TV or something. He was like, I can tell you're thoughtful and you kind of hold back, but once you are allowed to kind of, I guess, info dump on something you like, he's like, I like that guy. He's like, I want to meet that guy a little bit more.
Yeah.
And a little thing like that informed me about myself. Again, steel sharpening steel. it informed me about myself that maybe I'm too apprehensive when it comes to dealing with people that I like, and I'm trying to hold back and not expose too much myself. When really at the end of the day, none of y'all are weirder than the guy that owns this game. So so you can let it all out. Nobody in this game is experiencing anything that none of us have ever experienced before.
For sure. I mean, speaking of that Minneapolis thing and talking about me being weird, is you guys couldn't find me in the casino at one point, ended up finding me playing a slot machine, and I was losing all of my money. And if you remember, Jelly picked me up from behind and carried me out of because I was just drinking and gambling, and that's like blinders go on.
That was a clean shaven, pre-quitting alcohol and ayahuasca and all. It seems so long ago.
It does.
In real life, it's 10 years?
I mean, used to be, I was telling somebody, there used to be threads where it was like talking about when I was gonna die. I was just such a drunk. But I was really good at it. I had a lot of fun, but I drank enough for the rest of my life, so I'm good now.
Yeah. So,
man,
I personally, I have not had a drink in over a year now.
Oh, really?
I was never a heavy drinker, but I don't know. I think I mentioned something. I was having liver numbers. My liver numbers.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And all that's come back around. I did a biopsy, all that kind of stuff, and they're all happy with it. So now I can actually drink again if I want to, but I haven't. So, and just don't miss it. But I mean, I guess that's part of getting into your 40s and stuff too, is you don't lean on that stuff as much.
Yeah,
so
things just don't work the same as you get older. You don't recover from hangovers as quick. I knew it's like after I turned 40, it's like I had a stretch before I got out of bed, and I was like, okay, I don't want to pull anything getting out of bed. All right, body isn't working the same way anymore.
Yeah, I spent so yesterday I had a work day at the baseball fields, because you guys probably all know I run a little league program over here, and it was field day, so it was work and prepping the fields and stuff, and I spent 9 hours digging and moving dirt, running a tractor and stuff. And by the time I got home at 6 o'clock, I think I was in bed an hour later.
Yeah.
On 80 degrees Saturday, and I was just like, what's happening?
I forgot that you run a little league. So what's the deal there? Are you
I run so for my community, for my small town. I live in a small town of like 2,000 people, and we have pony baseball here, and so ages 4 to 14.
Yeah.
And I've been running the program for like 10 years now, I think. And
That's
I've had
awesome.
I give a lot of time to it. And I don't know. I think during the season, one time I was averaging 20, 25 hours, 30 hours a week on top of work, on top of the stupid amount of hours that I put into CSFBL as well. But that was it. I mean, I love baseball. I've loved baseball since 1985. When the New York Mets and Dwight Gooden debuted.
Oh yeah, Darryl Strawberry, Keith Hernandez,
Gary Carter.
That team was crazy.
I remember
one of the best teams ever made.
Yeah, absolutely. And I remember we used to make jokes on TCL form whenever a celebrity died, but when Gary Carter died, we were like, nah, we're gonna leave that.
That's right. I remember it. He was the first one where he died, and everybody's just like, nah, we like Gary Carter, and we were making fun of everyone that died.
we were, but yeah, that '86 Mets team, and that formed my love of baseball. And so and it's funny because this is the first year. Last year, or during 2020, was the first year I decided I was going to go actually see it. I've never seen a Major League Baseball game in person, which is one of the big, even to this day, one of the minor tragedies of my life is that I've not been to a Major League, been to a couple minor league games, and that's it. And I've been determined that I'm going to go watch the Mets play because they have some good players on the team, and I want to see them play live. And so hopefully I'm going to make that happen this year. The opening day for the Nationals is versus the Mets. And I don't know if DeGrom or Scherzer is going to be starting that game. and Strasburg for the Nationals. Scherzer coming home. It's going to be a whole thing. I should call Jelly up and see if he can
That's cool.
get us in there. Because. But I mean,
Yep.
so anyway, I've had a lifelong love of baseball. So it was natural for me when my kids got old enough to play t-ball. I got involved, and I can't get involved with something and see that they need something without and not step up. So I kept stepping up and kept stepping up. Now I won the whole thing. So
Yeah, that's awesome. Good for you, man. Well, I have taken enough time for you, but promise me that we'll do round 2 sometime, maybe later this year.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm hard to get because it's hard for me to keep dedicating time to things that aren't work.
Yep.
But tonight we're going to do a Zoom. Me and CK, we're doing our team owner, the new team owner draft in LEG,
Oh,
and then we're going
nice.
to do the lottery draft right after. I think we're doing that in like an hour and a half from now. And
Are you recording it?
yeah, we're going to record.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And I picked up a bingo ball thing and everything. So I want because another thing I want to do with LEG is I want it to have content. I want us to have more content. I know that's important to the growth of the game.
Yep.
And so I want to make sure we have some form of content. So if we can do the annual lottery ball thing, that's a good thing. And have some, like we did with TOC, have some good matchups. We watch the games together and stuff like that. And try to go
CK's
down.
always been pretty good about helping with a lot of that stuff too. So it's good that you have him on the leadership team.
Yeah, well, CK's come a long way.
He has.
When he was a teenager around this game, he got himself pretty. He went through a rough patch around here.
Yeah.
And the person he is now is light years from that, and that's just growing up and being more mature. And I think he's another one of those younger guys that can really help carry, make sure that the game develops in the direction it needs to. We need those guys that want to take leadership on it, want to run leagues and innovate, do things. So,
well, I'm gonna lurk around leg a little bit. I'm just interested in how this league both forms and comes up. So if I can ever do anything, please let me know. But I'll be cheering it on for sure.
Oh, no doubt. I'll keep everybody informed. Clone has been a huge help. He's helped us get through a couple little sticky spots with it on the functional side of things. And but at the end of the day, we're gonna have a good time over there. And I wanna bring some of that, the things that I think make TCL work well, and things that have made Discord work well, and the things that have created the community and the camaraderie and things like that. I want to see that come into it. That means not inviting a ton of TCL people to that, because we already know each other. I want guys that we don't know yet. Yep. And I want to unlock that thing that there was some magic moment. And I think it was when the dare, show your face if you dare, Fred,
yep.
When it personalized TCL. And I want, there's a new version of that out there somewhere. I want to find it. And I think it's these Zoom meetings, and I think it's Discord. And if we can get it more and more personalized, I think that creates a hardcore group of users. And that's the more of those we have, the better. So
I agree with you 100%. Well, man, I appreciate you coming on. I talk about you every podcast for a reason. You're one of my favorite humans, beyond just being one of the manager I want to beat in the World Series most. But I love you, man. Thank you so much. And for all of you watching, we love you too. Until next time, we are out of here.